All right, let's get right into it. We're going to pull back the curtain on this invisible force that powers pretty much everything you do online. We're talking about the hidden connectors of our digital world, and today we're going to explain exactly what they are, and more importantly, why you should care.
And hey, a quick shout out to LeafTech Solutions Learning. They provided the awesome source material that makes this whole explainer possible. Just think about your day for a second, right? Every single app you tap on,
Every time you buy something online, or even in a store,
yeah, behind all of it, behind the screens, the buttons you push, there's something invisible working silently to make it all just work. It's not the code you can see, it's the connections.
So what are these hidden connections that make our modern world tick? Well, they're called APIs.
So let's start with a big question. What on earth is an API? The simplest way to think about it, it's like a digital messenger, or maybe a translator between different pieces of software.
Okay, the full name is Application Programming Interface, which I know sounds super technical, but the core idea is actually really simple. Just think of it like a contract. It's a clear set of rules that lets two different software systems talk to each other. But here's the key. Neither one has to know all the messy internal details of how the other one works.
You know, there's a great analogy for this, the restaurant. Imagine you're sitting at a table. You don't just walk into the kitchen and start cooking, right? No way. Instead, you get a menu. That's the API. It tells you what you can order. Then you give your order to the waiter. The waiter is the messenger. The waiter takes your request to the kitchen. That's the system. And a little while later, brings back your food. You get exactly what you wanted, and you didn't have to know a single thing about the recipe or how the kitchen is run. That is what an API does.
Okay, so that brings us to the next logical question. Why do we even need these things? Well, APIs exist to solve some really big problems in the world of software.
they're absolutely essential because they tackle three huge challenges. First up, reusability. I mean, why would a developer build a super complex map feature from scratch when they can just plug into the Google Maps API? It saves a ton of work. Second, security. The API is like a security guard. It lets other programs get what they need, but it never lets them see the sensitive code or data behind the counter. And finally, scalability. APIs are what allow massive platforms to grow and connect with thousands of other services without the whole thing just collapsing under the weight.
But here's the thing. Not all APIs are created equal. Just like you wouldn't use a hammer to saw a piece of wood, developers use different kinds of APIs for different jobs. So let's take a quick look at the API family tree. So first, you can break them down by who gets to use them. You've got your public APIs. These are open to everyone. Think weather data or map information. Then you have private APIs, which are used inside a single organization to get all their own systems talking to each other. And finally, there are partner APIs. These are shared only with specific trusted partners. A perfect example is how a company like Uber uses a payment API from a company like Stripe.
All right, now let's talk about the two big ones, the historical titans of API design, REST and SOAP. Think of REST as the modern, flexible choice. It's lightweight, it usually speaks in a simple language called JSON, and it's basically the engine running under the hood of most web and mobile apps today. SOAP, on the other hand, is kind of the old guard. It's heavier, way more strict, and uses a more rigid format called XML. You don't see it as much now, but because it's so reliable, it's still the go-to for supercritical systems in things like banking.
This table is a really great cheat sheet for the modern API world. So yeah, REST and SOAP are still huge, but now we've got some newer players on the field. GraphQL, that's all about efficiency. It lets an app ask for exactly the data it needs, no more, no less. And then there's gRPC, which is built for one thing, pure, blazing speed. It's perfect for when all the tiny little pieces of a huge application, we call those microservices, need to communicate with each other instantly. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now for the fun part. Let's see where this all comes together in your world. Because the most important thing to get is that APIs aren't just some abstract techie thing. They are literally everywhere, powering the stuff you do every single day. I mean, every single time you click that Login with Google button? Yep, that's an API. When you check the weather on your phone, your app is using an API to pull that data from a weather service. That little map embedded on a restaurant's website? You guessed it, API. Online payments, sending a message, saving a file to the cloud. It's all being powered by these invisible messengers working tirelessly behind the scenes.
So if you want a super simple way to remember the difference, think of it like this. Websites are built for humans to look at. They've got buttons, colors, stuff for our eyes to interact with. APIs, on the other hand, are built for machines to talk to each other. They're all about the raw data and actions, letting software communicate directly. No humans needed.
And you know, this is more relevant today than ever. Why? Because APIs are the absolute backbone of modern AI. They are the crucial link that lets an AI model go from being just a smart brain in a box to actually doing things in the real world. Things like fetching live data from the internet, connecting to other software tools, and even triggering actions. Without APIs, AI would basically be trapped.
So when you boil it all down, understanding APIs isn't just a technical detail. It's about understanding the fundamental language of our digital world. I want to leave you with this really powerful idea from our source material. If you understand APIs, you understand how the digital world truly works. This knowledge separates users from builders. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?